We interrupt what you're watching right now to bring you this exciting story.
It's the dust and it's the glory. 100 stripes, 100 stories. It's the pledge of allegiance on the 4th of July. It's some handwritten letters from home. It's some sleepless nights alone. It's his newborn baby he left with his wife. It's red, white, and blue. Lay down his life. It's the red, white, and blue. 40 stars and stripes. Hey. From the fields of Indiana to the swamps of Louisiana to the golden coast of California. Uncle says the only family he's got is purple heartbeat won't stop. And his 18th birthday was the day he was born. It's the red, white, and blue. Lay down his life. It's the red, white, and blue. 40 stars and stripes. It's the red, white, and blue. Stand on the front line. It's the red, white, and blue. Pay the ultimate price. Oh. He was the man I was when he was born. His family is proud but torn. But if you know him, you will understand. He was raised on a boot parade just to see the flags still wave. And then he came home with all he wanted. It's Mr. Red, White, and Blue. Lay down his life. Mr. Red, White, and Blue. All these stars and stripes. Mr. Red, White, and Blue. Stand on this line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue. To pay the ultimate price. Mr. Red, White, and Blue. Lay down his life. Mr. Red, White, and Blue. 40 stars and stripes. March in line. March in line. Hey. Hey.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, good evening, Erie County. Here we again, Wednesday live from downtown in the Harbor Creek. You know, it's the best kept secret in town. Shh, don't tell anybody. But yeah, here we are. It's Wednesday. A lot of things going on, of course. The gang's coming in here. We got, let's see, we got Kim, we got Gwen, we got Stan, Tina, Benjamin. So it's nice to see everybody coming in. The channels are lighting up, which I always get excited because I can pull up a drop down little thingy there and it shows me all the channels warming up. Right now, Facebook's in the lead. Nobody on X yet. That's okay. We'll take whoever we can, and it's nice because the show is recorded. That way, folks that are busy tonight, I know my good friend Dean Pepasalo, he's like, Brian, Wednesday nights, that's our band rehearsal night. I said, that's okay. He always checks it out the next day. But where do we start? I mean, we have so much things going on locally. It's definitely Nathan's here. Thank you. Appreciate it. Um, there's just so many things going on. We're really coming down to the wire and getting people registered. Uh, if you're not registered to vote by now, you are almost, and I do mean almost out of time. You have to May 5th. May 5th is the last day to register, close the business. Um, what is the name of his band, Brenda? It's God, they're playing at Fairfield on Friday night. They are the Gray Goose or something. I'd have to look it up off the top of my head. Thanks a lot. I thought I know everything, and then you guys tripped me up. Gotcha. But yeah,
They are called Wicked Goose.
I was half right. They're called Wicked Goose. I know they're playing at the Fairfield Hose Company's club Friday night, and you got to get there early because trust me, it is absolutely a packed place. The last time they played down there, we were playing parking security. We were packed. We had to turn people away. So if you plan on going down there, Dino and the Dynamites, that's a great name, actually. I like that. But again, it's not, I don't know if it's his band, but that's how they are. May 5th, be with you. Exactly. That is it. That's where, if you want to vote in the primary, change your party affiliation, do a little kind of like, tap dance around who do you want to vote for in the primary? You have to do it very, very soon. Do not fill out a paper one and mail it in there. I would not trust the mail with such an important thing with this amount of time. If you have to make any changes, you can go right online and you can do it right from the county's website. Or here's my QR code. You can scan that with your smartphone. It'll take you to my link tree at the very, very top. It says voter registration. Click on that link. It'll take you right there. You can change your party affiliation, get registered to vote. Whatever you need to do, I would highly suggest you do that online. Unless you want to fill it out on paper and drive down to the courthouse and physically hand it to the lovely folks in the election office. That is your pretty good option at this point, but you got to go downtown. People are voting early. Parking will be tough. So go online, do it, fill it out the old on the paper and physically take it down there, hand it to the nice ladies. That way you are registered or you are going to change your party affiliation. Yeah, it's nice to see everybody coming in here. The numbers just keep clicking up, and that's what I like to do. We do a little kind of like long intro. Hi, Dave. You're live.
Good evening, here, Mr. Brian.
How's the Lower East Side doing this evening, sir?
Just peachy, just peachy. Got a couple new restaurants opened up down here, and little illegal parking going on. But other than that, at the restaurants, mind you.
Yes, yes. I saw that. You set that picture up of the big, huge trailer park there that against city ordinance about leaving an unhitched trailer on the side of the street. But hey, there's the rules for thee, not for me. But that's
Right.
Welcome to Erie.
But I do see that. I don't know if maybe it got around or whatever, but I know they have the pickup truck hooked to the trailer.
Oh, now once it's hooked up, does that make it legal?
Well, it makes it legal during the day, but from 2 to 6 at night, it's still illegal.
Ups a daisy.
Now, I'm not up at 2 o'clock in the morning, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 to check it out to see it, but I'd be willing to bet you that if you go by there between 2 and 6 in the morning, it's probably still parked there in front of the restaurant, and that's in
Yeah.
violation. But there's no tickets on it. They wouldn't put any tickets on that deal.
No. Come on. We got to be nice to our new neighbors and make sure they feel warm and fuzzy. The rules are for other people. Haven't you figured that out yet, sir?
Yeah, I got to ask you a question. What do you think about now? As far as the Republicans are concerned, do you think there in this primary now? I'm talking about the primary.
Okay.
Do you think that all the Republican candidates, citywide and countywide, are pretty much safe in their positions in the primary? Because a lot of them only have, the minimum amount of candidates for the minimum amount of positions. So in other words, if there's one opening, there's one Republican. If there's 4 openings on city council, there's 4 candidates Republicans.
Right. The two
So
that
do you think they're pretty well safe where you could have like an Operation Chaos where some of the
Havoc and
Republicans
chaos.
would switch over to be a Democrat and vote in the Democrat primary, like Rush Limbaugh used to say, and knock some of these people out, these Democrats out?
Well,
what do you think about that?
Well, that's a great question. Now, I was just sitting here doing a mental roll call of all the races, and man, there's a lot of them. So if there's a 2 candidates now, off the top of my head, Harbor Creek, no, there's only 1 candidate. So I know Summit has 2. They're good friends of the show, Mike Pace and Mark Sleppy. We run their stuff in we run their ads all through the show. 2 great guys running for 1 position on the Republican ticket. So that's going to be a good race. I mean, in Summit, man, I'm telling you, they literally come down to a handful of votes. That's why I wish I don't want to shake my laptop, but I'm proverbially shaking my laptop to get people to vote, because like up in Summit, it comes down within a handful of people. Yeah, state races have more. We get that, but let's focus on the local stuff now.
As far as the city's concerned,
Yeah.
let's keep it to the city.
Okay, the other one I wanted to talk about was Harry Morgan out in Mill Creek. There's 2 Republicans running for that seat. That's another one that's going to be a nail biter, and watch that. Now we jump into the city. There's 6 Democrats for 4 seats.
Right.
On the Republican side, there are 4 Republicans for 4 seats. So that's a wash right there. Controller, we have 1 Republican and 3 Democrats. So
Right.
that takes care of that seat. Now,
Yep.
the mayor's race, we have 2 Democrats and 1 Republican. So the Democrats are the ones that are battling it out, But if you
Right.
want to, I know people are thinking about switch pitching here. I think my lovely wife has talked about maybe changing over to D to vote a certain way, to take certain people, push them out of the way out here. But hey, that's a tactic. I know several of the candidates have posted on their Facebook page, like Harry Morgan. You can write him in as a Democrat, and then boop, and if he gets 50 and only 40 Democrat write-ins, boop, he takes a Democrat, game over.
Right. But yeah, that's the city.
That's an
not
example.
gonna happen.
But yeah, but I'm just saying, look, I'm looking at the city races. Those are the ones that come to my mind. Like I said, the controller's got 3 Democrats. That's going to be a great race to watch, because Chuck Nelson's going to be poof. He's gonna come in third. I betcha. I mean, Ed Brzezinski and Miss Sanfilippo, great candidates, great people. I'm just that's going to be a tight race. I mean, it is. You're going to have the old school versus the new school. And Miss Sanfilippo, I've talked to her several times. Nice lady, very nice lady, very well qualified. Ed, he's old school Democrat, very, very well liked and very popular in the city, and he's that voice of reason on city council. It's going to be it's going to be tough to call, but I would vote for Ed. I mean, his years of experience coming forward. But you know what? Sometimes maybe a younger face up there would do Erie some good. Miss Sanfilippo would be that new face. So that's going to be a tough one.
Yeah. Well, I see Chuck's getting a little upset with the Republicans. They're coming out in favor of Ed and San Filippo. Get a little upset on his Facebook
I
page.
saw that. I read that. He's getting his pretty locks in a little knot there. Well, because look, there was a post today. He was complaining about what was it? What did Brenda? What did he call us? Dumb Republicans? I forget what he called us. I think I sent it to Kim or somebody.
I have the video
Yeah,
for it.
Republicans.
Yeah, that was on video, but there was a screenshot I think I took of it of his rants against Republicans. Didn't he realize or learn anything that the Democrats were calling us names? They're doing this, they're doing that. That doesn't win election, boys and girls. You didn't learn anything from the presidential race? Die on that hill locally.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what it is. Don't worry. We have do we have the video off of Joe Natale's show, Brenda?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good. We got that, Dave. That's a Dave video. He did that. We're going to be playing that a little bit later on. Matter of fact, when I'm done with Dave, Brenda, if you can put that on there, that'd be great to start out because that's where we're coming off the out of the gate doing. It's a great video, not my words, and that's what we try to do. We try to, I have my opinion, then we'll find a video that kind of supports it. Dumb. That's right. Thank you, Kim. He called us dumb Republicans. Wow, Chuck, calling not the majority, but a good part of the city of Erie. He was on social media calling dumb Republicans. He's called us every name he can and think he's holier than now. You're a fake minister, pastor, whatever you are. Get some rocks out, and we're gonna have the Church of the Rocks.
Well, I got one last thing I'll get off is I do drive over to the west side quite a bit,
Right.
And I head on westbound. I'll either go over West 7th Street or I'll go over West 9th Street now. On one of the streets, one of our ex-mayor lives, Mr. Filippi, and I notice he has a vote for Daria, I'll take care of you sign out in front. I mean, he doesn't have that. He's got a Daria Devlin sign, so he's pulling for Daria. And on the other side, on the other street, Mr. Chuck, he only had his sign out there for a while, but the other day I drove by and he's got a few out. He's got a Joe Schimber sign out also in front of his crib.
It's going to be an interesting race. It's not going to be boring. Trust me. It'll come down to literally a handful of votes. You watch.
Yeah, and he also has what's the other one I thought I seen? Oh boy, I can't quite remember now what the other one was. One of the council members.
There's I saw Carl Anderson running for county council again.
He's got a couple of big ones out somewhere. I've seen.
I saw that he's got one on 38th Street, and like one on Bird Drive, if I'm not mistaken. But he's going to take it. He went after county executive and got decimated in the primary. So now he's going to go back and challenge it. I think that's Jim Wynorski he's challenging. Yeah,
Wynorski. I've seen a few of them.
Yeah, Jim Wynorski. He's gonna pull it off. Doesn't matter that the Democrats censured him. So what? You censured a county councilman because he disagrees with the party? That's the people you need elected because they are not the status quo. Whatever the Democrats say, they do. Just like the Democrat, party came together and they already put out their list. Here's the people we endorse. Well, I totally disagree with them, but that's fine, I guess. I think Jasmine is going to be in for a rude awakening here in a couple weeks, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. But anyways, I'll get off. I'll be listening.
Hey,
Have a good one.
Thanks, Dave. Brenda, if you want to play that interview
about
with Chuck
a minute
Nelson
left
on the Joe Natale.
So you're saying that this home rule really changes the income side of the ledger of what it's made of, and income tax would be more dominant. Does that mean that folks from outside the city are more involved with the operation of the city? If they are, let's say they live in Fairview but they work downtown, does that mean that they're more involved? No.
No, they still keep extracting all the resources that we provide for their jobs. Hey, and I'll be like,
I love it.
Like that?
Yeah,
So,
I do like that.
hey,
I got to go to break.
Extracting resources. So everybody that gets up, drives into that hellhole called the city of Erie, we are extracting from them. Considering how much money we dump into that city, you have the audacity to insult the people that spend their money in the city of Erie. You basically put a gun to our head and charge us with a occupational privilege fee or tax to work in that city. So you buy lunch from downtown, you got to pay for parking, maybe stop and get some gas on the way home. But we're extracting resources out of the city of Erie. We drive our vehicles down. Our tires fall off our cars because the roads are such shit. So we stop at a local garage and have to spend $1,000 to get our car fixed or buy a spare tire because it just got ruined. I mean, you know what, Chuck? You need to go. I mean, this is why I hammer down on him because his arrogance, people, is disgusting. He walks around and he's the minister and he's a pastor, but he's always he called us bitches on social media because we disagreed with him. And now he's, Mr. On Joe Natale's show, extracting our resources. Like we come in, I don't know, like an illegal alien and maybe live here for free, take our tax dollars, we feed them, we clothe them, we give them money, but we're extracting resources from the city. If everybody that worked in the city just stopped, that lived out in the county, that place would have a for sale sign it within 6 to 8 months because we just wouldn't spend money. Do you think the majority of the employees of Erie Insurance live in the city of Erie? They don't, boys and girls. They live out where they can send their kids to school and not worry about getting shot. They can send them to schools where they're not going to get knifed or beat up or threatened. But, we're extracting stuff from the city. No, we're supporting that city with our taxes and the money that you take from us. I've said it once. I've said it before. Taxation without representation. They take our money and they spend it however they want, but we're not allowed to say boo. And they just barely allow us to speak at their city council meetings. But I remember this in history somewhere that taxation without representation, I don't know, what did that do? Oh, yeah, that started a revolution. I'm just saying, because the people were tired of the government, the king, taking their money and not have a voice. What do you think you're doing? And then that's funny. They point their fingers at Trump. Oh, he's a king. He's not a king. He thinks he's a king. Who's the king? Who wants to be the proverbial king in the city of Erie? Chuck Nelson. He wants to be the guy that's going to go up to the controller's office. I wouldn't trust him to balance my checkbook. Yes, Kim, you're live.
Oh my God, that Chuck Nelson, he's the gift that just keeps giving.
I know, it's like Christmas time.
And he wants to promote tourism.
Yeah.
And they get upset when we want to get rid of illegal aliens who put a drain on the social services that we have there.
Extracting resources. Yeah, extracting resources from the city that people go down to the food court and buy an expensive lunch and then sit out in the park. And now that they're going to have country fair right there, you can stop in and get a sandwich or a Snickers bar or whatever you need to do. But we're extracting the city's resources.
Right. and we're a welcoming city, you know, but
No, we're
don't
not.
extract our resources that, that the taxpayer doesn't even get to enjoy because we can't even afford to drive our cars down the road without boom, 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 boom.
It shakes. I have all my real teeth. I'm just saying. I'm not making any points here. I'm just saying. I don't know how people with dentures keep their teeth in their mouth when they're driving down State Street.
But I just love it because every time he opens his mouth, it makes it easier to point out all of his Bostonian flaws.
It's like he's on a suicide mission to not get elected because he didn't. I was shocked. I lost money on this bet. I lost a whole 30 cents on this bet that he was going to run for city council and the controller, and he didn't. But I think what they're going to do is they've got a plan where if a seat is empty, they're going to slide him back in there. You watch.
Well, and that's the whole reason why I like Ed, but the only reason I don't want him to win is because I don't want that open seat.
It's a voice. He is the voice of he's like the tribal elder on city council. He's the guy that has the experience. He knows everybody. He doesn't forget your name. So I know exactly what you're saying. I can't even argue that point because it's a great point.
Because even when you and I were running for county council, and I'd run into him, he's like, "Hey, Kim, how's your race going?"
Absolutely.
There was never anything negative coming out of his mouth. And I think it's hilarious. Not any other Republican and not even the serious Democratic candidates have anything negative to say. The only people spouting negative things are Chuck and Jasmine. The leftist liberal Democrats. They're the only ones coming out with negative comments about anyone.
That's a page out of the Democrat hate book because they don't stay on focus on the issues. They have to go with lies, deception, and hate. And hate. Why do you think Jasmine? Why do you think we wear these hats? Because we're just members of the KKK and President Trump is a Nazi. No, actually, the Democrat Party is a actually classic definition of communism and fascism and all the isms thrown into one cocktail drink. They're the ones doing it, but that's what they do. They deflect what they're doing back on us to make us look like the bad guys when their approval rating is down the toilet. Just like Kim and I had the privilege of being interviewed a Japanese TV show. They reached out. They reached out to me and said, "Hey, we'd like to have a female voice." I got Kim. We met the library, and we were talking. He goes, "Well, President Trump's approval rating is slipping." I said, "According to whoever you're reading your math from, I disagree with. But whose approval rating is worse? The Democrat Party. They're in the low 20s, where Trump is still up in the 50s, low 50s, but that's good. But then you slide over to immigration, he's still up in the 70% approval rating. So nice try."
Absolutely.
Hi, Mark.
Absolutely.
Hi,
and
Josh.
they didn't know what to say. And like you and I both pointed out, he's only his first 100 days. The Biden administration took 4 years to make every mistake they possibly could to screw up the country.
4 years of disaster. And they're like, "Well, Trump hasn't fixed it." It's been 100 days, for God's sake.
Right. And all they could bitch about at first was the price of eggs. I can now go to Country Fair and get 2 dozen eggs
I know.
for $6.
I know.
That's cheaper than when he was still in office.
I know. That argument was, that's what they do, is they find an issue and they drill down on it. It's just like the illegal immigrant thing, that the guy that's at home, they want to bring him back. We're going to bring him back. We're not coming home until we bring him back. They drilled down on it. They drilled down on it. They drilled down on it. And now it's not going anywhere. Okay, we give up.
Right. And now all of a sudden they're going to impeach him. And Trump, I loved it today. Yeah, I was talking to the great first lady. Guess what? It took them 100 days before they decided they were going to impeach me.
Right. Well, I know.
I wonder what I did now. We haven't gone through this before.
And the impeachment thing was they're just chomping at the bits. They were just waiting for the first 100 days to get gone so they could impeach this guy. I'm going to send Brenda a picture. And Brenda, if you can add that to the photo lineup, that way it's about what Kim and I did. So yeah,
And
Send it on Messenger.
better, did you hear the exciting news today that Trump and Zelensky finally signed their deal on the rare minerals today?
amazing
It
how
just came out on Fox News. What do you know? He said he would do it, and he did it.
well again less than about 100 days. Now they have struck a deal for the mineral rights. How about that? So there we go. You know,
Hashtag we told you so.
oh, right. Well, we said just give him a time, put some pressure on him. He'll take the knee. He will. I mean, and that's exactly what he did. And
Yeah,
we
yeah.
told him when we told him, but these Democrats are so just quick that they just need a reason to hate. And this was their reason to hate. Yeah, yeah. So
Well, and I'm so glad you brought up equal representation because I want to bring up our local news media since you brought up the subject.
what a joke that is.
Oh my God. Okay. First off, I already called them out on one lie. Okay. And I talked to Sean Lafferty and he apologized. And I said, next time you run a story saying the Republicans refused to go to an event, why don't you find out if we are actually invited to that event?
Yeah.
And now, oh, guess what? The Democrats have shown up to in person voting. Well, guess what? Some of us have already done our in person voting and they knew, but they didn't do a story on it.
Well, right.
So
Be-
where is our equal representation, Sean Lafferty and the rest of you people down there, Erie News Now?
Right. Well, I mean, I'm going to take a poke at Joe Natale. He only brings on Democrats. He had Chuck Nelson on. He had Sam Tallarico on. Where's the Democrats? When was the last time Joe Natale interviewed a Republican county council person? He doesn't.
I think
He
it was Brenton
refuses to.
Davis, and he's required to do the county executive.
I said county council person.
Oh,
He does.
yeah.
He does the mayor and he does Brenton Davis. He gives those guys the same amount of time. But Chuck Nelson, whatever. I mean, I guess he has a face for radio. I guess he keeps bringing on Chuck Nelson. He doesn't bring on. What about the other folks? I mean, and what happened to the news? I remember when I was on council and I was running for office. No, Brian, we can't do an interview because you're running for office. Well, wait a minute. Chuck Nelson has his face plastered on some TV event thing. Whatever happened to fair and balanced? Well, oh, that's right. I gave up on that crap in the city of Erie a long time ago.
Right. So, you guys and girls, I'm going to harp on this and harp on this. You're going to hear me harp on it every time I'm on Brian's show. You've got the primaries May 20th. I'm highly encouraging you guys. It's only going to take a few minutes. I went up there, as a matter of fact, today to get more information on what's going on. Please take 10 minutes, go up and do your early voting now. Check your registrations, make sure there's no problems with it. You can go right on to Brian's link tree. You can check your information there. It only takes a couple minutes. We got to show a presence. We got to show that we're tired of this crap. We want to bring unity to the city. We want to show, that we have a voice, that we have an opinion. We want to get the roads cleaned up and fixed. We can absolutely do that at no expense because I'm telling you now, we already paid high enough tax. We're already paying on these stupid fees. That will end if you get a conservative voice on city council. So please, please, please get out the vote, and I hope to see many, many of you tomorrow evening at the Colony Banquet Center on 12th Street, where me and Brian's good friend Scott Pressler will be, and he'll let you know how important these little elections are, and we're going to make it too big for them to rig. And with that, I'm going to let you go, Brian, and thank you so much to Brian and Brenda for all of their great help. I must talk to Brenda at least 5 times a day and at least Brian 10 times a day. And Stan, I cannot wait to see that truck out on the road. You got me so excited today. My dogs heard me hipping and hollering. They didn't know what to do. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. And please grab a friend, grab a relative, get up to the courthouse and get in your vote. Thank you so much, Brian.
Gotcha. See ya. Here's a photograph. I do apologize for the blurriness. I didn't take the actual photograph. That was one of the news team that took the picture. First, I thought I need to put my glasses on, but then I'm like, no, it's actually out of focus. But these folks are the main reporter there that was talking to Kim is actually based out of New York, but the other two, the cameraman and the girl that took the picture, were actually from Japan, and they have a very popular show. I'll put the information up later. But they Googled up Erie, and they were looking for Republicans, and then my name came up, and then they wanted a female. So, but here we are, this little tiny town in Erie, Pennsylvania, and these folks are putting a show together in Japan to talk about the effects of President Trump. The question was, the main question was, Brian, what kind of rating do you give the president? I said a B plus, solid B plus. There's some things I agree with, some things I don't. I said, now if we slide over to immigration, I give him a good solid A, but some of the other stuff I have to drop down just a little bit for a B plus. He has to now with the information I have now, with the whole thing with the Ukraine, I would have given him that A. I would have given him that A, because that's huge that we struck a deal to help compensate us for all the money we've spent in that stupid little war. But we need to bring it to an end. That's what that. So Brenda, how about a video?
I want to pull up those White House
Please.
lawn signs again, if we can, because I think this is very important, what the White House is doing here, the communications team. They're showing their work. Now, you might not be able to see it on your screen, but the descriptions of these individuals: first-degree murderer, sexual abuse of a child, kidnapping and rape, murder, rape of a child, distribution of fentanyl, sexual assault of minors, lewd acts in front of a child, sexual contact with a child. In other words, not good actors. And we know that 73% of those arrested during the Trump era are people with pending criminal charges or criminal convictions. But look at this. I have some brilliant commentary from none other than Joe Scarborough's team over at Morning Joe. They had a guest on. Guess what this guest said about those signs you're looking at right there? All of these people, they're mugshots. They've been booked and charged with crimes. Well, here's what they have to say at MSNBC. We don't know if they've had due process. Okay, they're booked. They get court hearings, but nevertheless, we don't know if, in fact, these individuals have a rap sheet. They're booked for crimes. So I would encourage those individuals that have this in the background of their shots, because reporters do hits from there, to blur the faces of these people. It blows my mind that the leftist press is more interested in blurring these pictures than standing up for Laken Riley, Rachel Morin, and the list goes on. Nate, whose story we covered, who was killed by an illegal immigrant in a car crash. They don't care about the American citizen, but blur these faces, please.
Rape, lewd acts in front of a child, sexual assault, lewd and lascivious acts against a child, fentanyl, illegal gun, child pornography, sexual offense against child, rape of a child, and it goes on and on. Rape and sodomy of a child. If you're an American and you do these things in a foreign country, you are going to face serious consequences, probably the death penalty. You'll probably go to a prison and never come out again. This is exactly what Joe Biden and the Democrats were allowing into our country, harboring and protecting these people. God bless President Trump and his administration for rounding them up, arresting them, and they're going to face consequences. And America absolutely voted for this.
Yeah. Due process. Isn't that this week and last week's buzzword that all these illegals, excuse me, that they have rounded up, that were here illegally, committed crimes, and that's their buzzword? Due process. They didn't get due process. You know what? Pardon my polyfru front say, that's a pile of shit. Because these animals, I'll say it, because that's who they are. Normal people don't do this stuff. These animals, well, actually, I shouldn't insult animals because they don't do that either. Didn't give their victims any due process. Where was their due process? Where was their due process? They didn't have any. They were victims. And here's our illustrious Democrat Party just drilling down on due process. Bullshit. Nobody is above the law. Remember that little tag when they were coming after Donald J. Trump with their pitchforks and they had their fires going and they were ready just to fry him. Actually, there was a lot of people who wanted him on live. Due process. That's this week's buzzword, and it's bullshit. That's why, these Democrats, you know what? I get in trouble from some of my Democrat friends. Are like, do you really have to be so mean to us? You guys, your party is doing this, not me. I'm not. Brenda's not. Kim's not. Stan, all these people, they're not doing it. We're the victims, and we're supposed to just stay here and just say, oh, but they have to have due process. Bullshit. Lock them up, send them back. And every one of these senators or congressmen or one of these knuckleheads that think they're going to go down there and be the savior, you have no power there. You have nothing. You don't belong there. Personally, I'm shocked the president didn't arrest him for violating their sanctity of a nation. But due process, give me a break. That's just this week's buzzword. I swear to God, these people sit around a big table. All right, Buffy. All right, Ginger. What's going to be the buzzword this week? Oh, well, let's see. We used Nazis. That didn't work so good. Racist, KKK. Those didn't work so good. New buzzword is due process. All right, everybody, get the emails out to all the media. Their new hashtag, their new word of this week is due process. Brenda,
now
video,
regret
please.
Giving a question to the Associated Press. Good afternoon, everybody. Does anyone have any questions for Patty or for me? No? I have a question. No? Anybody? Okay. You're a reporter. You should find out. Go find another job whose interests you align with. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. I think Governor Walz, unfortunately, is living a sad existence after his devastating defeat on November 5th. I'm shocked that he is speaking at nighttime. I thought his bedtime was much earlier. Caitlin, regarding not taking your follow-up. Philip, go ahead. I saw you were making a face at my previous answer, so what's going on? It took me about a minute and a half to think of 5 things I did last week. I do 5 things in about 10 minutes. And I think it's insulting that you are trying to test my knowledge of economics. Thank you.
She, and that's why the Democrats hate her. They on social media, they blast her. Absolutely just blast her. Oh, she's got a cross on. Her husband's really older than her. They have no merit. They have no meat and potatoes. So what do? Like they always do, they resort to personal attacks. And that's all they've got. I mean, Chuck Nelson, it's not a personal attack. We can go over 10 stupid things he said this week. That's why Dave made up that video for us off of the Joe Natale show. He edited it up, clipped it up, said, Brian, here you go, man. Tim Case, howdy, sir. Thanks for coming by. Constantine, I didn't see it jump in there. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate that. Due process, January 6th. Yeah, exactly. No, you're absolutely right. But then when you bring up the January 6th, their lack of due process, oh, but they were this and they were that. They were no, they're American citizens and didn't get their due process. But we want to give these illegals that have pillaged this country. I'm trying to I don't want to get kicked off Facebook. They have unlived a lot of people and done horrendous acts to these people and children, but they're supposed to get due process? Buddy, if this wasn't a decent show, I'd tell you where to stick that due process. But we can't do that. Brenda, video, please. Make sure they get their due process. Okay.
So this is an underground illegal nightclub, okay? And what was happening inside was significant drug trafficking, prostitution, crimes of violence. We seized a number of guns in there. We had active duty service members who were running security at the club and involved in some of these crimes. And in fact, we had over 100 illegal aliens inside as well, and those over 100 illegal aliens were taken into custody by ICE. We had over a dozen active duty service members in the club tonight, either as patrons or working as armed security. Army CID was one of our partners out here, and they're going to work with us on what the next steps for those active duty service members looks like. When the cops showed up at the door, most of the drugs hit the floor, and we did find cocaine. It looks like some pink cocaine or the Tusi, and there was a little bit of other drugs, but we haven't had time to test everything, but there were dozens of small packages of drugs that they've recovered so far that I have personally seen. We estimate over 200 people were inside the nightclub when we came here tonight, and so that's why we needed such a large force. Over 100 went into ICE custody. A few people went on state arrest warrants. They had outstanding warrants, and we actually have a few other operations pending right now across the city. We have noticed TDA, MS-13, and I believe Hell's Angels in this club. I don't have the information about whether those members were there tonight, but we're still working through a lot of that because we have so many people in custody.
Well, well, well. Wasn't that just an interesting scenario, video, and interview, and that never saw the light of local left TV stations? I'm not any competition to any of these local news medias, but I will try every chance I get to bring this out and show the people this is the crap that's going on that nobody on the left will talk about. But then that's why they want to just drill down on us and call us KKK members and racist. No, we are people that are tired of being victims. We, the people, are tired of the left hating this country. I mean, I've got several veterans in this room here. They took an oath to support and defend the Constitution, and every one of those active duty, I almost said something bad, active duty military men or women. And it's funny they had CID, Criminal Investigation Division. They're the law enforcement of the military that takes care of felonies. MPs, MPI take care of misdemeanors. CID, criminal investigators, they take care of your felonies. They knew they were there. Why do you think they brought CID with them? They should be, and here's the thing. In the military, under the Uniform Code of Military Justice, being an ex-MP, trust me, you don't get due process. They'll criminally charge them. They will go up in front of charges, and they will fry. Donna Reese, stand by. Donna Reese, you are live, ma'am.
Hello, hello, hello. I wanted to just let everyone know that tomorrow night is shaping up to be just a tremendous event. We're pushing 200 people.
Nice. Very nice.
And it's growing. I mean, it's growing by the hour.
We told you this was going to happen. Scott Pressler shows up, so does his friends.
And I was just chatting with Scott a little bit ago. I was tagged that somebody shared my invitation in the Pittsburgh area and said that they wouldn't go within 10 miles of this event and that Scott Pressler is a fraud. And
wow.
Funny enough, I just listened to this person's presentation a couple weeks ago, and I chimed in because I read all the comments and they were mixed. Everyone was like appalled. She is accusing him of hitting on people's husbands
Oh,
and
Jesus.
just ridiculous stuff. So I kind of unleashed on a Republican, and I said, you know what? I said, this is exactly what's wrong with the party. I said,
Exactly.
we don't work together. I said, we have too many egos that need to be number one. And I said, your allegations, you kept saying, wait until this comes out, wait until this comes out. I said, how about if you wait until this comes out? And
Wow. Yeah.
I just, I said, people are tired of drama. If we want to see change in this state, we need to work together. And I said, and in Erie County, we really are a factor for the whole state. And here you are mocking an event that we're holding. And I said, how many people have you turned off from volunteering or even running for as a candidate because people are tired of drama? And she has not responded, but Scott saw it. And he said, he apologized to me. And I said, oh, no, you don't have to worry about me. I said, I've learned to tune out the noise. And I said, but I also am not going to go quietly. So, this is my whole point of, building a volunteer base is so that candidates step up and want to do this because they have the support. And I am so grateful, overwhelmingly grateful for all the volunteers that are coming tomorrow night, and Scott, who is going to teach effective volunteering so that people aren't intimidated to do it. And I just can't tell you the energy between between he and I, just crazy. I can't. I feel like a kid on Christmas Eve because I really believe that we have the opportunity right now to make history. And when I say make history, I mean it because the city alone has not, again, I keep reiterating, we've elected 3 Republicans since 1962. And now is our time. Um, I just the energy out there. People are flipping for candidates that are knocking on doors right now. They're flipping daily. Do we have time for a real quick story about one of those flips?
Go ahead.
Okay, so 2 days ago, Anita she is a notorious. If she sees people standing on the street in front of their house, she pulls over and talks to them. Are you a Democrat? Yes. Well, I'm Anita Fay running for city council. And she goes into talking about so what do you think of this? And what do you think of that? And everyone's upset. She goes, well, do you know that there hasn't been a Republican in office or only 3 since 1962, and you're completely Democrat run? And she goes, and I'm running as a Republican. And so this particular stop, it was a couple Haitian guys. Well, immediately they're like, you got to be kidding. And they're like, sign me up. She changed them right then and there. So then the one she offered a ride, he was running home to get his backpack to go to the library. So she said, I'll run you. They went to his house and he ran in and got his backpack, and his neighbor was in the yard. So he ran over to his neighbor and he's pointing at Anita and he's, all excited. Gets in her car and he goes, I just told my neighbor how I just changed parties and I'm so excited to get on board with her campaign. And you need to join us. This is going to be amazing. And he says, and then I found out that my neighbor's also running for city council. And Anita said, who is your neighbor? Andre Horton.
That's funny.
Oh my gosh. I laughed so hard because I mean Anita didn't recognize him. And it's just the Democrats know we're coming. It's not a secret. And our candidate website that has every candidate that wants to be included on it, the hits on it the last day and a half have been astronomical. And I contribute that a lot to Dan Laughlin for putting all those wonderful posts out there. And I
Absolutely.
comment on everybody's
Yes, you
negative
do.
comment to say, go to Erie Stronger Together. And I'm telling you, hundreds of hits in the last 24 hours.
And again, this movement is something that the Erie area has not seen before. It has not seen
Never.
we the people stand up and say, enough's enough. This is not the status quo, because we learned our lesson when we were passive and President Trump didn't get reelected. We dropped the ball. So then we picked the ball up. Now we know what it takes and what it feels like to change the course of history. And here we are doing it again. I get it. That's why whatever you need, I'm there. You know, we went from a small venue.
You and Brenda have been a tremendous help. I really appreciate it. And John Buchert, oh my gosh, he's my person that when I'm get to that, the stress moments, he keeps me well grounded, and he's a world of information. So it takes a team, and tomorrow night I think is going to be epic, and I do believe that we are going to inspire so many souls to get out there and spread the word and join the movement. And again, I had another phone call last night, somebody that is retired in politics. Donna, what group do you belong to? Because he knows how splintered. And I
Absolutely.
said, I don't belong to a group. I said, I want to bring everyone together, one mission, one cause. And I said, so just call me Donna Reese on a mission. And I'm sticking to it. We're going to build this. And, I'm overwhelmingly happy. So
I get text messages. I get text messages. I play your I put your Facebook post up everywhere. I took that ad you made. I ran it through some AI, put some music to it, put some sparkly glitty stuff on it.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah,
That was awesome.
just to have fun. And people are like, Brian, I'm just a person. I want to go. I said, well, contact Donna. I said, email Donna. Don't, I can take care of it, but it says on the instructions to contact Donna. We're just putting a list together and making sure that, because what Democrats like to do at these events is they like to, have 50 people sign up to take 50 chairs away so 50 people can't go. Well, we're just a little bit smarter than that, everybody. Thanks, Mr. Sam Tallarico and your Gestapo tactics, but we're a little bit smarter than that.
Yeah, I have been checking registrations.
Checking that list, checking it twice. Gonna find out who's naughty or nice.
And I welcome Democrats to come. I really, if they are on the fence on what to do, or they're curious about our movement, I recommend, I've been, telling people, if you run into somebody that you're talking to that is, thinking about flipping, have them come to this and see why. And so I'm not opposed to it, but I definitely want it by referral. And I know that we have some Democrats coming on referral, and I'm really happy about that, because this is our opportunity. We never get the chance to be in front of them. And now we're making that happen.
Right. And I've talked to some, just, I talk to people all the time. My phone, listen, I'm not even an elected official anymore. And my phone rings and I get the emails and stuff like, well, Brian, what do you do about this? Well, I can give you my opinion. Just that's why we do the show, is to give we the people these little tiny voices together. We come as one big roar. And that's what this is about. This is what the whole premise of the show is, taking the little mousy voices and making it a roar. Because I am tired of watching this Erie County go down the proverbial toilet. because a bunch of Democrats kind of work together as a team. Well, guys, we could work together as a team also, but we need players. That's the problem.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And, I was talking to somebody today and I said, the Democrats, they work together. If the devil was on the ballot and somebody at the top of the party says, okay, everybody on board to vote for the devil, they're going to vote for the devil and they're going to do everything they can to get the devil elected.
Well, that's what the
So-
Democrats just did. They came together in their little cult meeting and they figured out, well, tactically, who do we want? And who was on the list? The most racist human being I've ever met in my life, Miss Jasmine, that has gone viral on the internet with her legacy of hate. And she's going to get fired. Like Trump says, you're fired.
I am getting this sneaky suspicion that she may be fired in the primary. Because we've had some pretty interesting calls from Democrats.
I agree with you. And I've had some heart-to-heart conversations with some Democrat friends that live in the city. They're like, Brian, what the hell do we do? Well, you can do one of two things. You can A, change your party, vote for a Republican, or B, pick the worst. I mean, pick the worst of the two of the four evils that are running.
Yep.
You got 6 candidates. Two of them are going to get fired. So figure out which 2 you're going to get fired. It's up to you. You have the power. I don't live in the city. And just like Chuck says about, I don't care about the people of Harbor Creek. You do when you're taking our money.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Did you watch the interview I had that we put on here from the Joe Natale show?
I watched a portion of it and then I got a phone call.
Yeah, go back later and watch it.
I need to circle back to that.
Yeah, and do that because it's just here he is just talking about nothing, But so yeah, give us some times for tomorrow night.
Meet the candidates from 5:30 to just before 7, and the program will start promptly at 7:00. We will do, of course, tomorrow is the day of prayer. So we're going to acknowledge that, and Micah Goring is going to help us out with that. But we will get kicked off, and I promise you, it's gonna be some great energy.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. But yeah, we have your ad up on the screen right now. So there's all the details. There's your email address. Be there or be square. I know
there will be. I'm sponsoring I'm putting some food out, just hors d'oeuvres and that for an hour. So there will be stuff to munch on, and then there'll be a cash bar all evening.
There you go. There you got it. Right from the creator herself, Miss Donna Reese. Thank you for putting this together. It's my privilege just to be the support guy. I'm going to bring out the speakers, the microphone. Do we need a podium?
Yes,
I was going to ask you.
Really appreciate it.
Do we need a podium? Okay, I'll bring my podium and then get some batteries and play some cool, fun music, and we'll rock this thing.
We'll talk. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks
be there or be square.
Be there, be square. You got it. All right. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
So there you go. You got it. We've been flashing Scott's ad up here about this event. Scott comes up here. He really doesn't do this. He doesn't get paid. He just comes up and does all this stuff. And you like him or not, whatever. I just care about his mission, and he gives us a great, great mission. He's done a lot for us. There's some different entities that don't like him. They don't like his tactics, blah, blah, blah. He gets results, and that's all that matters. So on that happy note, Brenda, you got a video? Gives me a chance to take a drink. Woo.
Hello.
just real quick, if you can't see it, there's a lady that walks across the screen, and this lady, of course, is a pro-Trumper. And when she walks her dog by, she gets flipped off, and this nice lady puts up, good music, has a different props that she does out in the driveway, and this lady just flips her off and says vulgarity. The party of joy and tolerance.
Oh, say does that star spangled
Well, she gave you a big up you at the end.
Now, a special thank you to Brenda. She, of course, if you really paid attention, it's fall, it's summer, it's winter. She kind of spliced those all together into one. But this is the party of tolerance and joy and peace and bullpucky. That to just sit there and flip her off, ladies on her property, expressing her First Amendment rights, and this lady just has to walk by with nothing but hate. We had a caller during the video. Let's see. I think who was it? I think it was Matt. I'll give him a quick call back. Let's see. Back to the phone. Sorry about that. I was stuck on Facebook. One more second. Yep, that was Matt. I'll give him a call back.
Oh, so it works, huh?
Well, it does work, Matt. You are live. I was just playing a video.
I know, I saw it.
Oh, okay. So how are you doing, sir? It's nice to see you. I saw you at the Dan Laughlin Veterans Breakfast. Nice pictures of you and the General and Dr. Fott. Man, you're just like a mover and a shaker. What's up?
Yeah, originally I was going to call about that. Plus, of course, you mentioned a few of my favorite topics, so we had to hop on. But no, definitely, I just want to say like that the event was great, and obviously, I have to be really grateful to Senator Laughlin for seemingly always doing a lot more for veterans than a lot of others do. But especially that one thing I was thinking about recently was I guess it was more of when I was sitting there was you can also notice that, oh, why aren't any Democrats here? It's not because we don't invite Democrats. It's because it's seemingly that there's only Republicans who are veterans.
Right. Yeah. I
So
mean,
it's
and it's
interesting how that works.
it's a very politically neutral event. We of course, you got Senator Dan Laughlin. Breton said a few words. State Representative Jake Banta. These are guys that are dedicated to the county. They're veterans, so it's only right. I know there's a couple guys there. I won't mention their names. They were Democrats, and we all can coexist. That's what veterans do.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm just saying, even of our locally elected people, it seems most of most of our local electeds that are veterans happen to be Republicans. But yeah, it's great to see Senator Laughlin put that up. And kind of on the same note, I'll I vaguely say that it was someone you talked about earlier, but I one of the people in the Democratic primaries for controller I heard recently was saying that I was quote going for a big boy job now, and if somebody had to pitch the question to them, what do you think of the military then? If you think Matt hasn't had a big boy job,
Yeah.
he's an officer in the army.
Yeah, and let me guess, that was Chuck Nelson, the guy that doesn't have a job. He doesn't have a job. He throws rocks at people. As a minister of I don't know what church he belongs to, but here you have a guy that was an enlisted man, then went to college, became an officer. Now, yeah, you're damn right he's going to have a big boy job, and he's about half your age. So nice try, Chucky, with your hate.
Yeah, I was real surprised by that one because
I'm not.
I don't know.
I'm
I
not.
can't believe.
Nothing comes out of his pie hole surprises me anymore because he's like a honey badger that's stuck in the corner and they will come out and then they just spew their crap and hate. But yeah, so we did add your ad. We took it off, we stole it off the internet and we've been flashing it up here. So if you can see that great lieutenant face and that great jaw with that unauthorized goatee.
Yeah, I actually I just got I got a profile for that recently.
Oh, give me you. Now we're gonna call you Lieutenant Profile. No, it's all good. And then what I did is Donna put the website, and of course I put our hashtag vote red instead. So yeah,
Yeah, and the website's great for hers and Kim's both they have good aspects to
awesome.
them. Like
Yep.
Kim added a nice event section to hers where she's adding all of the relevant events. Like we see them on Facebook, but
Yep.
scrolling back to find posts sometimes a lot. So Kim's, I believe it's makeeriegreatagain.net, and then the Erie Stronger Together is great because combining a
Catchy.
lot of these instead of 10 different candidates making 10 different websites. It's like, all right, we could go to the bios and we get it. We don't all need to have an individual website. It's,
Right.
let me look at all these people running. What's the skinny on them?
No, and you're absolutely right. I appreciate you calling. It was nice seeing you there the other day, and we're gonna run your ad through the profiles because we know that you don't have anybody running against you, so you get kind of get to slide through the primary with not too much work. But then, young lieutenant, it's time to put the boots on the ground.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm very curious to see who gets out of it on the other side with the Democratic primary. Because one of the things I've been saying this whole time is like, if the Democrats are legitimately looking at the people as candidates, the main one who has like any sort of financial background would be Brooke, but she's not as politically connected as the rest of them. So if she doesn't win it, I think it'd be kind of disrespectful from her party to her. And then you get to see the whole, it's about the political aspect of it rather than qualified candidates anymore. And we know that, but we're going to see it on a very direct level there.
Well, first of all, their young Padawan lieutenant. It's a popularity contest with the Democrat Party. What their qualifications are basically irrelevant. I didn't even see. I wasn't even really. I tried not to pay attention. I didn't even see who the Democrats endorsed for that race. If somebody knows, please type it in the room here because, like I said, I didn't even pay attention. I just wanted to see Her Majesty get that, and I had to laugh.
Yeah, I guess you're right, though. I am still a little starry-eyed on the idea of it should be about qualifications, but no, and that's it's a shame politics anymore. It's like it used to be, at least it feels like it used to be, but I wasn't around for it. So we'll say at one point it was supposed to be, at the very least, about qualifications, and it's for me, it's always just trying to think about like how, if ever, can we get back to that? Because legitimately, qualifications above all should be what it's about.
No, I get it. And it's funny, being in the military, being a sergeant, and the E5s are the backbone of the military because they're the ones that do all the heavy lifting. We always
Absolutely.
loved when we got a new butter bar, new lieutenant in there, and they're all bright eyed and they're bushy tailed and they got their clipboard, their uniforms are starched, and they're ready to go to work. We're like, dude, you're going to get dirty today, right? Lieutenant, But yeah, no, we appreciate your call. I do got to clip it off. I got a couple stuff I want to get done. We have your ad up on the rotation, so we will put your boots on the ground, and we appreciate you calling there, young lieutenant.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Sergeant.
All right, like we say, Shank out.
See ya.
Yeah, that's good. Nice to hear from Matt. It's like he needs to do that, get out and about, rub some elbows. He was, nice. There's a nice pic go on his Facebook page. Nice photographs of him and a nice, it's always nice when a young lieutenant stands next to a, one-star general. But yeah, so Brenda, want to play a video? Please, thank you.
See the truth. This puppet show stays on because of you fools. We've been dancing with the devil way too long. I know it's fun, but get
So there.
We now have people breaking down the doors to join our military. To the media assembled here, it's a really interesting question. Why has that happened? Completely aside from the fact that I think it's a good thing or I think that President Trump deserves political credit for it, why did we go from a military where people didn't want to serve to now all of a sudden they do want to serve? That's a story you guys should cover, but compared to that, how much time have you instead focused on the fact that we deported an MS-13 gang member with a valid deportation order? And why is it that the press is so focused on the fake BS rather than what's really going on in the country? I think that what we've shown, sir, is that you can do a lot. You can do a lot in 100 days, but you've also unfortunately revealed that too much of the American media hasn't learned the lessons of the past 40 years.
Well. Thank you, Mr. Vice President, to bringing that out and officially scolding the media, which they need, because the proof's in the pudding. Numbers don't lie. Matt, and if you want to disagree, it's always about the numbers. You got to follow the numbers, and because who wanted to be under the sniffy commander in chief? Trump perfect? No, but I tell you what, we have an enlisted man, the first Marine enlisted to be vice president. That's history. I mean, that really is. And of course, Brenda's, t-shirt infomercial. You guys need some t-shirts, get her on deck, get your orders in there. She does them pretty quick. She hand makes every one of them. They're not shipped out. They're all done right here locally. And campaigns are coming up. She'll get you a really good deal, very competitive prices, and we get that. So, Brenda, just go ahead.
This here is a perfect
Here we
example
go.
of what the media does to get people to hate Trump. The Vatican asked
March for
Pope
Life,
Francis
Saturday,
funeral attendees to
10:45
wear
at
all
Perry
black.
Square. Brian
Trump
Shank will
wore
be the
blue
DJ.
suit. So that's what the media says, and this is the image they show you, right? Now here's a picture with more context, and you can see how many other people were dressed. I'm zooming in a little bit more so you can see it. There's a lot more blue than what the media was trying to lead people to believe. Again, this is the image they showed us, and this was the reality. And this is a perfect example of why the trust in the traditional media is at an all-time low. Like, they had to zoom in and get the perfect situation to push their narrative. And again, it's not about being intellectually honest or even fair. It's about pushing a narrative. And this is a perfect example of that. And it's beautiful to see the American people picking up on that and not trusting these traditional media outlets. Clearly, he was not the only person wearing blue there, but the media wants you to believe something else.
And it was funny. I did see that the media. Oh, President Trump had a blue suit on, blue suit on. And then Brenda brought this video forward, and we should like, what do you think? And I'm like, well, thank you, but that's a great video because it shows how much of liars that they are and try to always, it's just like Erie News now on the internet. Their TV guys, I think, do a good job. I truly do. Their internet people suck. And like, if I can catch your spelling errors, you know you really suck. Because I admit that is my weak point about spelling. If I'm catching your spelling boo boos, you suck. And they everything is anti-Trump, 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 anti-Trump. I mean, I've almost took them off where I don't even pay attention anymore because they occasionally will throw in a puppy dog story, which is an anti-Trump. So yeah, I think we just got a couple more videos left, and that should bring us right to the 9:30. And I think that's a good place to say goodnight. Go ahead, Brenda. I'm looking for my brain. Oh Lord, this is funny. I just can't find it.
A child that's transgender.
Absolutely.
And that's, you know, that warms my heart, particularly as a black man. What?
And you must build this world.
Democrats on the Capitol.
I don't think they know what a sit-in is. A sit-in is when you virtuously, peacefully obstruct a public space and you risk a beating, you risk arrest. The civil rights sit-ins were at segregated lunch counters or department stores. They're just sitting on some steps. They're not stopping anybody from going to work. This is like, you could like go to brunch and call it a sit-in. I mean, you could sit for a few hours and have a mimosa and call that a sit-in. Usually, sit-ins are for people out of power who can't change the law, not for people in power whose job it is to literally change the law.
That's what
A California senator just introduced Senate Bill 560, which would decriminalize welfare fraud below an amount of $25,000. The bill would also prohibit prosecutions for attempted welfare fraud and would prohibit someone from being charged with perjury if they're subject to prosecution for welfare fraud. Does anybody else think, holy crap, this lady is committing welfare fraud? Like, how can you introduce that and not have everyone just go, hey, it's pretty obvious you're committing welfare fraud?
The California Assembly Committee on Public Safety just blocked a bill that could have made sex trafficking of minors a serious felony, a crime eligible for penalties under California's three strikes law. California ranks #1 in the nation for reported cases of human trafficking. That's why State Senator Shannon Grove of the 12th District authored SB 14.
The leader of the Public Safety Committee, Reggie Jones Sawyer, led the charge to kill this bill. It makes zero sense to me that you would not support a bill that would put somebody behind bars who sells our children for sex, minor children.
Human trafficking is considered a non-serious crime here in California. It really is unbelievable.
Democrats are out of ideas. Congressman Cherie Thandadar is impeaching. Yep. And the more we learn about Cherie, the weirder it gets. Cherie owned a pharmaceutical lab that ran tests on dogs and monkeys. A whistleblower accused Cherie of hiding that some of the herbal supplements he tested were spiked with Viagra. His company went bankrupt and over 100 beagles were stranded inside a lab. Cherie's a strange guy with a shady past. If I were him, I'd be laying low. But there's no leadership in the party, so guys like Cherie can steal the spotlight. But Democrats say Republicans are the weirdos.
Again, this was a Brenda special. She put together a bunch of little videos to make them a longer video. So I appreciate her learning her editing. It's getting better and better. We're getting more focused on what we can and can't do with this program and what she can do with her software. So again, that was a Brenda special. But we laugh, but these lawmakers in California are weird. And then they point the finger at us during, remember the campaign, how weird we were. And California's got the number one in underage sex trafficking. And Newsom wants to be the president, and that's Pelosi's district, and that's Chuck Schumer's area. I can't make this up. I mean, if a guy in Harbor Creek can figure this out, where's the rest of the smart people? Well, that's a really, really long stretch. So yeah, I mean, again, there's just so much going on. We'll do our show on Sunday. I talked to Erie County Councilman um, Charlie Bale. He would like to come on this show. He is up for reelection. He does have a Republican challenger, Scott Rastatter. Scott used to be on county council, and then he got thrown out by Charlie. And Scott was the guy that was pushing for the rail, the high speed rail. Well, we saw what happened in California, how that debacle is. And Scott was a huge, huge supporter of the community college. I mean, I get that; that's his opinion. But he was in the Erie Times News when it was reasonable, calling people names like a Democrat that didn't agree with him. No, that's not what we do. I mean, and I don't get it. But so Charlie, we're gonna work out a time to get him in there. He's a very, very busy man. He juggles a lot of things. His kids are in college. He's got a lot of things going on at home. But I reached out to him. I said, I'd love to have you on the show. He's like, I think I'll do the show. And he is a man of few words. Really, trust me. He's that guy that carries a big stick and walks and talks very quietly. Go on to county council meetings and you can watch him. He's just sitting there thinking. He takes notes. He'll have something profound to say, and then he votes his heart, or he'll say, "This is why I voted for that." And I'm not, I try not to pick sides, but I'm going to go ahead and call the winner on this one already. That's going to be Charlie Bale. No problem. Scott's a decent guy, business owner. I just don't agree with his philosophy on how he was on county council. I had the privilege of working with both of them. I was just a councilman, worked with Scott, and then Charlie came on, and then he voted me for chairman. So it's not just like I'm paying him back. It's just I think he's the best choice to represent his district. And it appears that people in his area do like him and respect him. He was a retired state trooper, and man, he's the guy. I don't think I want him to arrest me, but he's a decent guy, really good guy. We're gonna try to work out getting him on the show. Maybe we'll work on it for Sunday, a Sunday matinee. I know he's very, very busy. Brenda, I don't see any more videos in the queue. Is that it? Or did you say you had one extra one?
Already played the extra.
Oh, okay. Well, I try to remember what the boss lady says,
Yep, that's it for videos.
I got that. Well, okay then, everybody. We'll go ahead and bring this thing in for a landing, as the late great Scott used to say when he was at the end of his talk show. We're going to go ahead and bring this thing in for a landing. So thank you for coming out on this Wednesday. You guys make this an enjoyable evening. I enjoy doing it. Our X, I hadn't stopped and looked at the channels, but X kind of came alive, and you know what? We're good with that. So go ahead and do the outro video, please and thank you.
Things were gone. I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. Thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. Sing it! God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the
All right, everybody, thanks for coming out on this Wednesday night. We greatly appreciate you and your time and your dedication and your donations that help keep this, you know, basically our voice. You can call in, you can text whatever you want, as long as you're respectful and aren't a bunch of knuckleheads. We will let you air your things out in the public airways. Again, special thank you to Brenda for everything she does, get the videos chopped up and rearranged and set in motion. You know, we were like T minus like 10 minutes. We had a microphone issue. Bang, she was able to fix it, no problem. And we were able to come on live and do our show. I will see you. I hope to see everybody here tonight at the Scott Pressler event on tomorrow. It starts at 7. Come early, talk to the candidates. We hope you can come down to Perry Square and join us for our spring walk. That'll start at 11 o'clock. I'll be the master of ceremony / sound guy. And come down there and let's help the folks that need a voice, because they're the ones that can't speak. As we always say at the end of the show, I salute you, and Shank out.